Imagine standing on the edge of a high diving board, your heart pounding with fear. You're looking down at the sparkling blue water beneath you, but all you can focus on is the churning sensation in your stomach. Your palms are sweaty, your knees are shaking. You're standing on the precipice of a decision, a leap into the unknown, and the only thing holding you back is the voice inside your head. Picture this. There you are, teetering on the edge, and within you echoes a chorus of doubts. What if I mess up? What if I make a fool of myself? What if? Negative self-talk, like a broken record, plays on a loop, amplifying your anxiety and drowning out the cheers and encouragement from the crowd below. It's the same voice that whispers you're not good enough when you're up for a promotion at work, the same voice that insists you're unlovable after a heartbreak, the same voice that declares you can't do it when you're about to embark on a new venture. It's a voice that has the power to transform a simple diving board into a mountain, a voice that can make a molehill look like Mount Everest. You see, negative self-talk can be paralyzing. It's like a chain that binds us, a weight that drags us down, keeping us from reaching our full potential, from soaring to new heights, from taking that leap of faith. It's like a ghost, always lurking in the shadows, ready to strike when we're most vulnerable. But here's the twist. This voice, this ghost, this chain, it's not an external force. It's not a villain from a comic book or a monster under the bed. It's us. We are the ones feeding this voice, giving it power over us. In this internal tug of war, we often become the architects of our own limitations. In this battle against ourselves, often we end up being our worst enemy. So, what exactly is this negative self-talk we're talking about? Well, it's that little voice inside your head that's constantly chattering away, often criticizing you, doubting your abilities, or predicting failure. It's like having a grouchy roommate in your brain who never stops complaining. There are various types of negative self-talk, including personalizing, where you blame yourself for everything, or magnifying, where you focus on the worst possible outcomes. Now, don't get me wrong, a little self-critique can be helpful. It's like having a personal editor in your head. But when it becomes a constant barrage of negativity, it can seriously affect your mental health, leading to stress, anxiety, and even depression. And guess what? This is a common issue faced by many people. So if you're feeling like your brain's roommate is a bit of a downer, you're not alone. In fact, if brains had a tenants union, we'd all be filing noise complaints. Remember, everyone has that little nagging voice inside their head, some just know how to handle it better. The first step to overcoming negative self-talk is recognizing it. You see, negative self-talk can be a sneaky little bugger. It's like a chameleon, blending into the background of our thoughts, often passing unnoticed. However, once we learn to identify it, we can start to challenge and change it. So how do we spot this crafty intruder? Well, negative self-talk can take many forms. It can be that harsh critic in our heads that tells us we're not good enough, smart enough, or simply enough. It can be the shoulds and shouldn'ts we impose on ourselves, setting unrealistic expectations. It can also show up as catastrophic thinking, where we always expect the worst-case scenario. Now here's the tricky part. Negative self-talk often disguises itself as realism. It convinces us that we're just being honest with ourselves, or that it's protecting us from getting our hopes up and facing disappointment. But let me tell you, it's about as realistic as a unicorn riding a rainbow. It's just our mind playing tricks on us, making mountains out of molehills. If you're wondering, how do I know if my self-talk is negative or realistic? Here's a simple test. Ask yourself, would I talk to my best friend this way? If the answer is no, it's likely negative self-talk. Remember, the goal here isn't to eliminate all negative thoughts. That would be like trying to scoop the ocean with a teaspoon. It's about recognizing when our thoughts are unnecessarily harsh, critical, or pessimistic, and challenging them. And speaking of challenges, here's a fun one. Try to spot 3 instances of negative self-talk in your day. You might be surprised at how often it shows up, like a party crasher who just won't take a hint. Remember, our thoughts are powerful. They can lift us up or drag us down. They can be our best ally or our worst enemy. But the good news is, we have more control over them than we might think. So, let's not let our mind play tricks on us, shall we? Now that we understand and recognize negative self-talk, it's time to learn how to overcome it. Let's imagine that our minds are like overzealous gardeners. They're always planting seeds of thoughts, and if we're not careful, they might just plant a thorny bush of negativity. But don't worry, with the right tools, we can weed out those negative thoughts and plant beautiful flowers of positivity in their place. The first tool in our gardening kit is positive affirmations. These are like nutrient-rich soil that helps good thoughts grow. An affirmation is simply a positive statement about yourself or your circumstances. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," we say, "I can and I will." Instead of "I'm not good enough," we say, "I am capable and worthy." Repeat these affirmations to yourself daily, or even better, multiple times a day. Make them your mantra, and soon you'll start to believe them. The second tool is cognitive restructuring, a fancy term for changing the way we think. This is like pruning away the dead branches of negative thoughts. It involves challenging the negative or unhelpful thoughts and replacing them with more realistic, balanced thoughts. For example, if you're thinking, "I always mess up," stop and ask yourself, "Is that really true? Haven't I succeeded at many things?" By questioning your negative thoughts, you can start to see them for what they really are: distortions of reality. Our third tool is mindfulness, the art of being fully present in the moment. Think of it as a gentle rain shower that washes away the dust and debris of negativity. When we're mindful, we're not dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. We're fully engaged in the here and now. And when we're present, there's no room for negative self-talk. So practice mindfulness through meditation, yoga, or simply by taking a few moments each day to really tune into your senses and your surroundings. Now, imagine if your mind was a stand-up comedian, constantly cracking jokes at your expense. It's not very funny, is it? Well, that's what negative self-talk can feel like. But here's the punchline. You're the one writing the jokes. So why not write some that make you feel good instead? And why stop at good when you can feel great? Instead of saying "I'm as slow as a snail," say "I'm as steady and determined as a tortoise." And we all know who won that race, right? A little humor can go a long way in diffusing the power of negative self-talk. Remember, the power to change our thoughts is in our hands, or rather, our minds. So let's take up those gardening tools and start planting a more positive, empowered inner dialogue. Because the only thing better than a beautiful garden is a beautiful mind. So, what happens when we replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations? Well, imagine your mind as a garden. If you constantly sow seeds of doubt and negativity, you'll find yourself in a field of thorns. But if you plant positive affirmations and self-belief, you'll cultivate a garden of flowers. Positive self-talk has a profound impact on our mental health. It can decrease stress, anxiety, and depression. It's like having a personal cheerleader in your head, constantly encouraging you and lifting your spirits. In addition, positive self-talk can boost your self-esteem. By affirming your worth and capabilities, you start to see yourself in a brighter light. It's like looking in the mirror and seeing a superhero staring back at you. Moreover, positive self-talk enhances your overall well-being. It's like a daily dose of sunshine, making you feel happier, more confident, and more resilient. It's a powerful tool that can transform your life. Believe it or not, the words we say to ourselves can indeed change our world. Let's take a moment to recap what we've learned today. We dove into the power of negative self-talk, understanding that it's not just a fleeting thought, but can have a profound impact on our self-perception and confidence. We then defined negative self-talk, painting it as that inner critic that often holds us back from reaching our full potential. We moved on to recognizing these harmful inner dialogues. We learned that awareness is the first step towards change. Then we explored various techniques to overcome negative self-talk, from challenging and reframing our thoughts to practicing mindfulness and self-compassion. Finally, we touched on the transformative impact of positive self-talk. We realized that by shifting our inner narrative, we can significantly boost our self-esteem, resilience, and overall happiness. So the next time you find yourself on the metaphorical high dive of life, remember, you have the power to silence the negative voice inside your head.